I'm the vegan Petman, and I'm here with Victoria Stilwell. It's me or the dog, for those of you who know, which is many of you. So, what do you love about being at the Westminster Dog Show?
Well, being around these amazing breeds, which is just, I mean, of course, dogs are my passion, they're my life. But to see these animals and to see, obviously, the way that they're handled and they're loved and they're adored and they're looked after is, you know, I think people should come here and learn about these breeds.
I think we can say that they're very much well loved. As I'm going around interviewing people, you can see how much love that they have for their dog.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a huge fan of yours because I love the way that you train dogs, and what you do is you help people connect to their animals, and often you actually save animals from being out of their home. And so, and also I understand that you're very philanthropic.
Yeah, you know, a lot of what I do is obviously going to people's homes and teaching them about how, you know, their dogs can live better and more successful lives in their homes. But a lot, I suppose one of the most important parts of my job is to educate people about if your dog does have a behavior problem, instead of taking them to a shelter and abandoning them and work with it. There are too many dogs in shelters, and that's why, you know, the dog show world doesn't really fit in very well with the shelter world. And shelter people, who are the die-hard shelter people, don't like the show dog people. I'm very middle of the road. There is a huge pet overpopulation problem in this country, and that's something we've got to deal with. But at the same time, if you told everybody that they weren't allowed to breed at all, and that, you know, even the responsible breeders weren't allowed to breed, and everybody had to spay and neuter their pets, where would the dog end up? There would be no dogs. So I think we have to have responsible ownership. We have to have responsible breeders, get rid of the puppy mills, and that we have to educate people. And I do that using all the vehicles that I have, and my most important message as well is treating animals humanely, positive reinforcement.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm the vegan pet man, so obviously I'm all about honoring the spirit of all animals. Yeah. But also, you know, I find that, did I read something about that you grew up in a home that didn't really allow?
No. We just about got a cat, but no, my father would not allow dogs. He did not like animals of any kind. So having a cat was amazing.
Right, sure.
But yeah, it was tough. But my grandmother was a breeder of beagles. So I would get my doggy fixed by going to hers, and we spent a lot of time with her in the country. So that was always very special.
So how did you end up into the whole thing, though? Like, how did you end up?
Well, I was a dog walker. Really, it was I was an actor for a long time, and to have a survival job, my survival job was dog walking. And from there, I met trainers, I met behaviorists, and I started to learn. I became fascinated on the way dogs learn and how we, as a human species, had such an amazing relationship with these animals.
Right.
And it really came from there. So I've been doing it for about 15 years. I've had my show on Animal Planet, and it's in 50 countries around the world now. So
it's doing wonderfully.
7 years, so it's just going from strength to strength.
And you know how many times I've recommended your book to people who are like, you know, my dog bites, and you know, we might have to get rid of the dog, and I'm like, you know, there's another option. You know, a lot of this can be trained out, and that's why I love recommending you to people, because you do that, and you do that with a sense of humanity.
Absolutely. Look, the most important way, even treating any dog, it doesn't matter if you're raising a puppy or if you're treating a dog that's got aggression issues, the most important thing is to use positive reinforcement, and it's creating that confidence in that dog, because confident dogs don't have that need to aggress. If you use some of these old-fashioned style dominance techniques where you're trying to be boss over your dog, that really promotes confrontational relationship between you and your dog, and is going to exacerbate aggressive response, because it's going to make your dog more insecure. So that's why I say it's really, really important to utilize science-based, positive reinforcement, reward-based training.
Which you do, and it works.
Yes,
and I've seen the other side work, but it's huge risk, and you can end up damaging the animal much more than just going with a love. I call it just a love therapy method. You know, it's just,
you know what I always say, do you want to be the kind of leader that your dog follows you because it fears what's going to happen to it if it doesn't, or do you want to be the kind of leader that your dog wants to follow? There's a huge difference. If you want the former, you're going to train in the dominance way. If you want the latter, you're going to use positive reinforcement. It's as simple as that. You can choose what kind of relationship you have with your dog.
I prefer to connect. I think most people and most of my clients always prefer to connect on that type of level.
Yes, so absolutely.
I understand that you're involved in shelter work.
Say again?
I understand that you're involved in some kind of shelter work, that you work with shelters and rescues.
Oh yes, work with shelters. I have a foundation, the Victoria Stilwell Foundation, and that we raise money for the smaller shelters that don't necessarily get the funding, don't have the funding themselves to market themselves. And we also, my foundation also gives money to assistance dogs organisations that help dogs, train dogs for disabled people, that kind of thing.
Well, I think you are fabulous.
Thank you.
And I thank you so much for taking the time and doing this interview with me.
Thank you.
Can I get a hug?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.